Hey, welcome to another edition of the Independent Creator Podcast. Tonight, we're actually going to slow things down a little bit, take a look at being more patient and trying to, move people from the social networks of everywhere to or the Fediverse. So, and we're also going to take a look at why bringing everybody to them might not be just a good idea or might be a bad idea. Let's talk a little bit more about that later. But right now, we're going to look at why bringing people into the Fediverse is actually good and bad. But the point is that growth. So actually, let's go. Let's take it back. Quick upswings of massive flooding into a Fediverse, as we saw back in, what was it, 2020, 2019, 2021, when Elon Musk first took over Twitter at the time. There was a big, massive swell or a wave of people coming into Mastodon. And of course, it caused a lot of issues with the servers weren't designed or weren't, built or weren't ready for all these people coming in. And then servers crashing out, the people being confused and frustrated. It's like, why I had to pick a server? I can't just click go and post my breakfast. It's something where the mindset at the time was everybody was so used to centralized networks like Twitter, Facebook, and they were only associated to that social network feeling of those old networks to this new and weird way of actually communicating with other people that essentially they were using a flavor of the Fediverse before, which was email. Now, not going into what is the Fediverse and what is Mastodon, stuff like that, but break it down is if you're using Mastodon, it's very similar to how you work with email. You would create an email, send it to someone that's over on Gmail, they would receive it, but you have a Hotmail account or MSN, whatever, AOL. I know you're old if you have an AOL account still. But anyways, the point is that these two groups, these two systems could interrupt with each other and talk with each other. You don't have to be a Gmail user to talk to other Gmail users. It was like that in the past. That we're talking like early days. But anyways, the point being is that with the Fediverse, it brings these multiple servers together and to share communication between them is something that makes the Fediverse great. And what makes it even better is that the people using it are understanding of what it is capable of and what you can use it for. So, like I mentioned, with the people coming in from like Twitter and Facebook, most notably from Twitter, is that they were associating the Twitter experience into Mastodon, but we're hitting a roadblock. And what happens is that the people that were associated with the Twitter experience for the past 20 years, it's kind of hard for someone to just automatically just quickly change how they go about their lives and how to interact with this new completely different system. And that's where we have to be kind of patient with bringing people into the Fediverse. Now, I did post up a couple articles a couple weeks ago or last month going over saying we do need to be a little bit patient, especially nowadays when everything it's just not Twitter or X Twitter as X is it's called now, but with Facebook and Meta and Instagram and Threads and people just looking for alternatives. It's kind of we're again seeing another tsunami coming in that all of these people are trying to look for alternatives because they've heard from mass media and their friends and family talking about how Meta is taking all your information, which they have been doing for, I don't know, 20 something years. But still, the point remains is that we have to work on a system in order to get these people moved off of the mass media centralized services into a more contained alternative platform like Mastodon or Blue Sky or PeerTube, Owncast, whatever. A Fediverse that is welcoming and is patient with these people coming in, because they themselves are not going to be patient. They want results now. And if they're not going to get those results now, then they're just going to just give up and go back to where they were before, like either X, Twitter, or Facebook. So let's take a look. I have this up here. Is that for this whole thing of being patient with the people that we're trying to bring into the fold, is that start small. Small steps are the best way to think about it. I posted up this article here on Two Tone Waffle. Is that the best way to go about it with it? Let me start over again. The best way to go about with this is to communicate with your more tech savvy family members, either your cousin, uncle, sister, niece, nephew, whoever has the capability to be more tech savvy than, let's say, your parents or grandparents. Because as we know, every Thanksgiving or holiday, we are, for us that are tech savvy and know things, says, oh yeah, you know about computers. Can you fix my computer? It's not working. We all felt those frustrations all the time. But anyways, start with the tech savvy family members. Get them associated with the alternative platforms first. They might be part of the ecosystem, the Fediverse ecosystem to begin with. And if that's the case, your job is almost halfway over, because you can utilize their experience with your uncles and aunts or your grandparents and parents to try to bring them over. But you also have to think about, in the back of your mind, is that the old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It pretty much plays out here, unfortunately, where, let's say with your grandparents, have been lock steady in doing one thing, or it was hard enough to get them into Facebook. That took probably years to go through. And now you want to switch them into Frenica or Go to Social or Mastodon. And the experience for them is not going to be as streamlined as it was for Facebook. It just flat out isn't. Most of the Fediverse is designed and built by programmers, and the UX and in the user experience and the user interface is not as great as it should be. It should be simpler. Not to say we should dumb down the experience, but the onboarding experience, and Mastodon is working on it a lot. They've been bringing some people in and trying to work on getting the first user experience to be a much better experience. But it's not as forthcoming as, Facebook or Twitter made it. When you first logged in to your account, you're instantly given, you want to follow these people, click, 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 and off you go. You're given people to follow or content to look at and read, and then you go off from there. With Mastodon, it's completely, you are on your own. You have to go through and find the content that you are interested in. And that's the best thing Mastodon is great for that. Yes, it could be a deterrent for the older generation because they don't understand. And if they do, it'll take a little bit longer process for them to go through and understand the processes and the reasoning for this. And that's, again, why you have to be patient. And again, like I said, like I have wrote here, is make it easy. You can create a simple guide that is one pager, and go through, especially with screenshots. Definitely include screenshots, because many of the older generation are probably visual learners, but there are also text-based learners as well. So you can't just work it to be one thing and not have to look at the other thing. So use screenshots. recommend a specific instance based on their interest. Let's say if they like sci-fi movies or anything sci-fi, find a Mastodon server that deals with sci-fi esque discussions. And that helps break the ice of getting into the Mastodon and the Fediverse ecosystem, because they're finding you're pushing them into an ecosystem niche that they're interested in, instead of a general vague everything is good to go. So look into that. Offer to help them set up their account. Spend like half a day. Go take them to lunch or have them take you to lunch, and say, okay, what we're going to do is slowly walk through and building up your account, following the people that you will find people that you're going to enjoy following and seeing their content. Show them how to find their friends. If their friends are on like Mastodon or any other places, help them find that and then get connected and say, hey, reach out to Joe Bob or Mary Sue, and just get those connections built first. And then at a later point in time, when they start asking you questions like, oh, how do I post alt text? Okay, well, I'll show you how to do that. I'll upload your image, hit the button that says alt text or enter alt text, and put it in, and just try to get them into a slow progression of using these systems. And then teach them the basics of boosting and following. And most of us don't understand, or I shouldn't say don't understand, but think of not boosting, but the hitting a star on a post, especially a Mastodon, as, oh, it does nothing. Well, technically it doesn't, but it does tell the original poster that someone has enjoyed that content, that piece of content, that someone had hit the star. It's not going to be like hitting like and everybody's going to be like, oh, this post got like 60 bajillion likes, it must be good, right? No, it's completely the opposite case. Who cares about the star? The only person that cares about the star is the original poster. And that's great. It shows, like I said, shows that someone's cared and say, oh, I like this post. It's even better when you hit that boost to boost it out to your feed in your network. And that enriches the original post content to a wider net of people looking at things of your content, and to gain interest into that content and say, oh, yeah, that's good, I see more of that. And then hit follow, and then you get a new follower, and then it just works out for the best. Again, people worry about losing touch with their existing networks, and we'll show them how they can go about it. Cross post between platforms during a transition. This is a great thing, that you can take your content from Mastodon and share it out to Facebook or Twitter, if you want. If you're still on those platforms, do that in order to say, hey, I am slowly transitioning from using X or Facebook as my main primary platform to this new platform, and I would wish you would join me on this journey. And if people don't, that's okay. Who cares? Each person has their individual likes and dislikes of a platform. They'll say, oh, Mastodon is for nerdy, geeky people, and it's very difficult and it's impossible to use. There's no one's using it. Well, okay, that's your opinion. Good luck with that. But again, you at least cross post. So say you can get all of my account information, all of my content over here. I'll still cross post it, but you're not going to get the full enriched experience if you don't come over to Mastodon. Use tools like Moa Party to sync their posts. There's plenty of different Buffer is another great thing too. You can post up links from your Mastodon or from your blog site. That's even better. I've talked about this in the past, is create a website or a blog or something that you can post to your website, and then take the link and share that link from there to the social network platforms. You can do that through Buffer and other platforms, services, I should say, as well. and still keep the old accounts while building the Fediverse presence. Um, when I first moved over to Mastodon, I did leave my account going probably for about like 2 weeks. But other than that, after that, I said, you know what? Kill it. I'm not coming back here. I don't care. I just went ahead and killed it. Now, many people probably don't want to kill their Twitter account because of the simple fact that, hey, there's so much going on. Still, through X, unfortunately, a lot of brands and large initiatives still use X for some strange reason, but that's their initiative, and we'll talk about that in a later date. But anyways, you can still, if you still want to have your account there, that is totally your prerogative. It's, you just have to have the understanding that when people look at that and say, oh, you still support X, even though all of the bad stuff that has been going on and is still continuing to go on, and you're associating with that, you just have to understand that you'll have that connotation tied into your X account. Let's, for example. So keep that in mind so you're not hit with a surprise left hook from, oh, so you're on X, so you're a Nazi as well. No, it's just some people in some groups and some companies are taking a lot longer to figure out where they want to lead their social media team, where they want to go to find a new home. It's not a quick turnaround. So keep that in mind. Again, like this episode is, be patient. So that's just some of the options. And you'll find, I'll have the link to this article in the description and the show notes on the podcast here. So again, like I said, be patient with how people react to your interactions with them and other people associated on these troublesome platforms, I should say. Another thing to be patient on is moving people from the live streaming platforms. I know a lot of people are still loving Twitch. Don't get me wrong, Twitch is a great place for the live streaming aspect, and it has a deeply ingrained culture for, let's just say, chat culture of viewers watching their favorite streamers over there. You're not going to get all of your viewers to be able to easily move to another platform, say YouTube or PeerTube or Beam or Moonbeam or Owncast. It's going to take a lot of work, and unfortunately, a lot of your audience is going to stay on Twitch. So one thing you can try doing is multi-streaming. This is what I do. I multi-stream to Twitch, YouTube, our Owncast server, and Beam, and I'll probably redoing or resetting up our PeerTube live streaming system as well, because we do have a PeerTube instance. So I live stream to 4 to 5 different places at the same time, and make it easier on myself using Social Stream, which helps combine the chat from all of these places into one place. And usually I'll have the chat show up right here. And people on Twitch can see what people on Owncast are saying, and vice versa, or from YouTube to Owncast, or from Beam to Twitch. So it's just one of those things where you have to do a slow transition. You just not say, okay, starting tomorrow, I'm only streaming on Owncast. You're saying that to the people on Twitch, and people on Twitch would be like, oh, so you're giving up Twitch? Okay, I'll guess I'll find another streamer somewhere. So you have to do this kind of stuff in stages, long rollout. We're not talking like maybe a week. We're talking like months of doing this process over the course of several months. Say, hey, okay, so we're going to start cutting out the Twitch stream for the next 2 weeks, and we're just going to be streaming on Owncast. And by that time, hopefully, most of your viewers have made the change over to Owncast, which is a great service, and I highly recommend it as an advocate for Owncast. But again, you're going to have those particular people that are solely within the Twitch bubble. They will not go anywhere else. Even if Twitch dies within like tomorrow, they would be extremely upset, and they'd be like, well, I guess I'm not watching anything. I'll just go watch my usual YouTube videos I usually do, not understanding that the people that they used to love and their favorite creators are still streaming. They're still making content other places. They don't care. It's just the cultural mindset of how Twitch has been ingrained in these viewers' brain space, that that's all they know and that's all they care about. And that's perfectly fine. Don't chastise them. Say, oh, you Twitch peasants, whatever, like the PC Master Race meme and stuff like that. But take some time and set things up. Say, hey, we're doing an experiment. Hey, if you want to watch this on ad free without creating a sub or needing a sub, go watch on Owncast. And the experience is night and day, because you don't need an account for Owncast. All you do is this, you have your generic name that comes up, especially if the person who created the instance has set that up or made that determination, or they create names, like a set of names to go through for people who come in, randomly get a name. And they can associate a Fediverse account with it. They don't have to. They can just, hey, this is who I am. I'm a Flying Valkyrie or whatever, whatever random terms you get. Anyways, give them the option and slowly get them into knowing about the option every stream. So for my case, I haven't done it as much, but what I would say to people is say, hey, thanks for coming in. Tonight we're going to be playing blah, blah, blah. You can also watch me ad free, even though Twitch doesn't want you doing that. You can watch me ad free over on Owncast or on YouTube or PeerTube. I have several options, and the links are right below the player, and it's available to you. If you want to watch on Twitch, great. That's where you want to watch. And you can offer, your viewers, your membership, your community, different options. Say, hey, not just with the ad-free viewing option, but also we do stream on the Owncast server 2 other days of the week that we don't normally do on Twitch. It's more like a behind the scenes, or it's more for, hey, this is something to give back to the community and say, hey, thanks for watching over on Owncast. So it's just come up with some different ideas and how to patiently work the system into your advantage. And one of the things is that I see so many times is that people lambast people that still use Meta or Twitch or YouTube or any of these large corporate type of centralized platforms. They lambast and say, "Hell, oh, you guys suck if you're using Meta. You just love giving away your information." That kind of thinking, it kind of turns away the people that would potentially want to take a look at the Fediverse. All they will see is just a sea of toxicity, and be like, "Well, I don't want to go over there and get completely harassed and ignored if I'm using Meta, or I'm using X because most of the people I know still are on X, and I would like to take a look at Blue Sky or Mastodon, but people over there saying I'm a Elon fanboy." But a lot of people get that mindset of it's a tribal mindset. It's like, oh, us over here on Mastodon is the best people. We're the best tribe. And you guys over there on X suck. And you guys are the lowest of lows. You're Nazis and you just hate everything. Quell that feeling. Yes, Mastodon is a better experience overall. But as was the old expression, you gather you gather whatever with honey and not use vinegar. I forget exactly how it is. Let me know what the exact saying is supposed to be in the comments down below. Love to remember, or I'll probably look it up after this doing this episode. But anyways, be the positive force. Says, yes, we do have an element of negativity, but the overall experience of Mastodon is more positive than what you'll find at where you are now. And I understand there are some people, as with any kind of place, there's going to be the negative connotation, the negative people. It's just, you're going to find that anywhere you go. It's just unfortunate part of being a human and part of the human species. It sucks. Humans suck, really. But as you're trying to be a leader, or to, I don't want to say like a missionary of the Fediverse, it's just getting the word out to these places. Try to say, hey, give us a chance, and be the advocate. Say, hey, if you come across anything, let me know. I'll try to work with you, see what's going on, and try to see if we can take care of that issue. And don't try to do that for everybody. Just take like one or two people under your wing and say, hey, show them what is possible within the Fediverse. And eventually what's going to happen is that more and more people are going to understand what the Fediverse is and what's it about. We've already seen cases that, news stories are talking about the Fediverse, Mastodon and Blue Sky and other places like that. It's just that we have to continue getting the word out and not spin it in a overly positive note, but to make it seem that this is a viable alternative. You will have a better experience overall in the long term than you would in the short term. But over the long term, your mental health state will probably be in a better place. You won't have to deal with the overly negative and completely vile filth that you deal with now, especially in advertising and just the accounts that you're getting shoved information into your account, into your feeds. So again, this whole episode is just to be patient with everybody. There is no race. We have to have a massive number of people using the Fediverse and Blue Sky. We have to have so many daily active users, more than X and Meta combined by the end of 2025. And if we don't, the whole system is going to collapse. No, there is no race. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We just want to say this is a viable alternative to what the garbage that you're having to deal with, and take your time. That's it. Now, if you know anyone that is actually going through this process and you want to share their experience with us, do so with the comments, or go to our community, our forums at twotonewaffle.forum. That's the great place, or twotonewaffle.com is our main site. The other articles that I showed on the podcast episode here is all there as well. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for coming out, and be sure to click the like. Also, give a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts if you would like. It'll help out. Give a comment, like an emoji. It's an engagement. It helps. But with that, have a good night, and later, taters.